Hi, everybody. I am live on Instagram. It's been a while since I have gone live. It's been a busy fall, and I'm so excited for my guest today, which is oops. Let's see. I'm already getting like a little bit. There we go. If you don't know me, I am. Well, actually, first of all, I am talking with my longtime collaborator, and happens to be my husband, Christopher Duggan. And I think that Christopher just joined as Gracie, but I'm not completely sure. Okay, yeah, so Christopher, just so you know, you're coming in as your child. But anyway, so I'm the owner and executive producer of Nel Shelby Productions. And as some of you may know, Christopher is our go-to photographer. He's an amazing photographer. I'm looking at my notes, just so everybody knows. And if you don't know this, Christopher is hi Nancy, is a very talented B-roll artist. And so on shoots, whenever we're on shoots, we are so grateful when Christopher is there because he gets amazing B-roll even on his iPhone. And we love it so, so much. And I don't know if you also know this, but Christopher is an expert on the wide cam. Back in like 2006, and we'll talk about it in a second, I trained Christopher to film the wide camera. So I could do the closed camera and we could do a 2-camera shoot. And he is pretty darn great. So I hope that he requests me again. And I'm going to bring him on so we can talk. There he is. Okay. Hoping it comes soon. There he is.
Hi.
Hi, Christopher.
Hello.
You look very good on your blue background.
Thank you so much. This is the blue room of our home.
Oh, are you in the office?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because the blue looks a little bit more blue than in the bedroom.
I loved
um,
how you were reading your notes. You're like, he's an amazing photographer. I'm reading my notes here. It says it in my notes. Like, oh, okay. Thanks.
you're welcome. Well, I know, but I get like a little bit, I probably should have rehearsed a little bit more. Maybe that was what happened, but I don't have to look at my notes to say that you're an amazing photographer. And I'm so glad you pointed that out. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, you are an amazing photographer,
Well,
and
thank
so
you.
we're gonna talk to you. You and I don't have we? Yeah, we did one Instagram live together at Jacob's Pillow when we had tough internet. Um,
We did, but I
and
feel like when we did that, we were next to each other. Like we went, maybe it was a Facebook Live. I don't know. I feel like we did something one time, but we were together on the screen versus you were in your office, I'm at home. I don't
yeah. Oh, look, you see, you're already getting shout outs. Christopher, you really are an amazing photographer.
know.
You came on my Instagram live just so people can shout you out.
Oh,
That's what
great.
happened.
Oh, good.
um, so we're just going to chat a little bit about, I guess, about the two of us and about the work that we do out in the world, in our businesses, out in the world for all these amazing artists. And for those of you who don't know, but I don't know why you wouldn't know this, Christopher is also a wedding photographer and has somehow very gracefully joined together wedding photography and his dance photography. So maybe if we can bring it back to me.
My favorite topic.
What do you think? So I'm going to ask you a question, and I am going to look at my notes, and I just have to apologize. Maybe I should like get a teleprompter on my Instagram Live or something like that for the future. But what do you think? What did you think when you first learned about what I did for a living back 20 plus years ago?
I mean, when we first met, you were just getting started. I feel like you had just finished your internship months before that, the Jacob's Pillow internship. I mean, I was a budding photographer. I was not a pro at all. But I just remember being excited that we had something in common that I felt like there was like a documentation passion that you were exploring, following,
Mm-hmm.
developing that for me was something that I think I kind of maybe like aspired to in terms of like photography. So that was exciting to me to know that that's what you were doing, and I wanted to do it too.
For some reason, I don't know if we've, on any of the podcasts we've done or conversations we've done together out in the world, if we've ever talked about how that's how you lured me into dating me.
Oh God. Okay.
So for those of you who would like to hear this story, we I filmed our really good friends who are actually out on tour of The Lion King right now. And I filmed their wedding and did a very extensive filming, created like a documentary from this filming. And Christopher was a groomsman. And you also took some photos, right? You like,
Yeah.
I think at the wedding you took some photos. And so when we were dating, it was,
Yeah, I think it was like because their wedding was over like a couple of days, and I think I took some pictures at different points. Yeah,
yeah. And then you were like, hey, maybe you want to use some of my photos in your
that's
film.
right. I remember that. Yes, yes.
So we met and you showed me some photos so I could slide those into the documentary I was making. But that was funny. I don't know, that flashback just came. Um, and then so when we started dating, I think it was actually like a year after I finished Jacob's Pillow. Not a few months, but you were like you were just dabbling, right? You were bringing your camera.
Yeah, I was a hobbyist photographer for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, shooting 35 millimeter black and white film for fun, kind of exploring. But I had, I was not doing it professionally at all. Nor at the time did I had maybe a dream, but I didn't have any like plan. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about your very first dance shoot then. Like when did that happen?
I don't remember
And
the year exactly, but I do remember we were dating and you got a gig and it was Ellen Shadle and Adele Myers and they had like a split bill. I think Ellen Shadle was kind of like the producer, but she was also a choreographer and it was a split evening. It was at like a studio space. I feel like it was like right near Union Square.
hmm
I don't remember the name of the place, but I remember I had rented a digital camera for the weekend to do a portrait shoot and I didn't. It was sort of like you could shoot digital and not have the extra expense of rolls of film, so I could experiment without more expense on top of it. And
yeah.
you were shooting that show, and I said to you, I was like, "Do you think the choreographer? I don't know what I'm doing here, but do you think the choreographer would allow me to come and like shoot pictures of the show?" I had no idea what I was asking for at the time. Like now I get more of that ask, but they immediately replied and said, "Yeah, if he shares the pictures with us, sure." And it was like
hmm
a studio space that was kind of like a long space, and my angle of from the camera to the center stage was a very hard angle. But I shot through the show, and I just got like two pictures out of the show that I was like, oh my god, I was so excited about. I was so excited about.
I still remember that photo. I love that of oh maybe that was a different shoot, the Adele Myers shoot when they had the white dresses on.
That's yeah. It was. I don't think it was dresses. I think it was pants and white
Pants.
tops. But it was a
Yeah.
show. It was a piece called Slipline, and I don't know,
Oh
like
right.
an explosive moment that I just loved. Like, was it representative of the choreography and everything? Like, I don't know, but I really loved it. So that was my spark.
So what made you want to continue? Well, maybe that was it. What made you want to continue?
Yeah, that was exciting, and I love being a part of productions. I graduated with a degree in theater, from college, and so being a part of the production is super exciting for me. And dancers are exciting, and being around artists is exciting. Like I felt like if this is something I can learn and do, like I'd really love to learn and do it.
Yeah. Well, you did. You learned it. So, okay, I love this. How would you say you've grown as a videographer and a photographer in the last decade? Um, Especially since you've been collaborating with Nel Shelby Productions.
Yeah, I mean, way back when you were a one-person operation, you would go and do one-camera shoots. And, when you were building more into doing more like two-camera shoots, like occasionally you'd have me be on the wide cam and you taught me how to shoot wide cam. So that was kind of like the beginning of me doing video with you. But the last decade has been more about, specifically probably like the last 5 years has been much, much more about like capturing behind the scenes stuff like on the iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
and also doing the gimbal work and creating those B-roll, capturing the B-roll content to supplement when you're making, promotional films and stuff.
Yeah, can we just like dive in a little bit to talk about B-roll? Because you have such an eye for doing B-roll. Like I feel like that's kind of that's what I said earlier in this intro. That's how you're like known as the B-roll guy, the BTS guy, as we call you. And like, what are you looking for? Like when because we'll all kind of like all of us on the NSP team, especially, and maybe sometimes our clients will kind of like giggle when you're like moving around us and you're on a shoot with us and you're capturing those moments. But I mean, Paige on our marketing team can vouch for it. It's like everything that we see that comes in of you getting those behind the scenes moments. Um, it's just is I mean, like I can't even do that. Like every time I try to do it, then I feel like you're like, oh.
I mean, I feel like it's a combination of a couple of things. Number one, I've had like I do it a lot, so I get a lot of practice. But
Yeah,
we're talking about like on the iPhone, capturing the behind the scenes stuff to be able to
yeah,
share on Instagram and to create those like fun backstory kind of like reels of like what we do and that kind of stuff,
right,
right?
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think my 1,000+ weddings that I've done, it really contributes a lot to it. Like at a wedding, like I'm constantly like honing in on like what's the story, what's happening, where's the emotional moment, who's
Mm,
interacting with who, like in terms
hmm.
of like the story as a whole, like where's that those hot like moments happening. And so I feel like on one hand, like those antennas are like kind of like always up, and so like when I feel something's happening, like I want to kind of capture it, and have it be representative of the people who are a part of it. Number two, I feel like over time as well, like I've been around working with dancers and working with you and dancers for so long, I have a sense of the arc of the way a dance is put together, and like things are starting to build and etc., and
Hmm.
knowing how to like you can feel the shift in the music coming, and it's maybe there's going to be an exit, maybe there's going to be an entrance, maybe it's time for the group to come together. So like when I'm
Yeah,
capturing some of those moments more like on B-roll or whatever, like I think I've developed a sense for it. And the third piece is having giving myself permission to get close.
right.
One of the big problems that I try to mentor people with when they're trying to learn how to do like these BTS moments better is you got to get close to the action. You can't stand, in the middle of the theater with your wide angle iPhone and capture, when the action is like 1/5 of the screen. That's
Right.
not very interesting. You want the action to fill the screen, and so that's what reads when you're like looking at an Instagram reel or a story or like whatever. So put all those things together, and yeah, I think I'm good at it too.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely feels like you're telling a story, and it sounds like that's what your goal is.
Yeah, like
Um,
when you're telling like BTS, like if it's a behind the scenes, you want to feel like you are actually behind the scenes, like you are a part of it.
mhm.
If we're doing some kind of capture for a dance company to tell their story and like get excitement about a show or like talk about the process, like the viewer, the camera, you as a viewer, you want to feel like you're on the inside. You want to feel like you are in the room. You want to feel
Right.
you're almost like a part of the action. It's very intimate, and it's just like look into the process. So
Yeah.
all of those things, like yeah, it takes practice to be able to do it well.
Yeah, what is that about? Like, my favorite thing is when the camera passes something,
Uh-huh.
Like that's my
Oh, when
like
something like kind of comes across the foreground.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite. I feel like that's my go-to of just like, oh, I need to go past like the boom, like a boom, a light boom or something backstage. Go past the
Makes
boom.
you feel like you're
Yeah,
right there in the room. Yeah.
right, right. It's good that we're still excited about this stuff. We've been
I'm
doing it a long
endlessly
time.
excited. I'm
Yeah.
endlessly excited. It gets me every
Yeah.
time. It's so fun.
Yeah, I know. Maybe you could talk about, I'm really going off script, but I'm just like bouncing around. But maybe you could just talk about, I feel like one thing that comes up a lot for both of us is just like how much we love the theater
Love it.
and love the studio. And could you
Love it.
just talk about that feeling of when like what is it that you love about walking to the studio or walking to the theater? There really is just something about it that never gets old.
I think for me, and I think it's probably personal for everybody, there's something about like theater and dance specifically, is like there's nothing happening until you create something. And so
Mm.
there's that like creative moment. Okay, there's six
Hmm.
people in a room, nothing's happening. Then the choreographer starts moving people and dancers start contributing ideas, and we try this, we try that, we cut this, we add that. Like, to me, to see a piece forming with, especially when it's like genius choreographers and stuff that we
Hmm.
that we had the privilege to work with, is fascinating to me. Like, I'll
Yeah.
never remember like being out in the Vail Dance Festival, and there's like 6 days until the now premieres show, and Michelle Dorrance has this room full of people. Half of them have tap shoes, half of them don't. A couple of ballerinas, a couple of this, a couple of that. These people don't really know each other, but are excited, and like they're running through things, and I'm like looking at it, going like, there's nothing really happening. Like, how's Michelle gonna pull us together? And then like, wow, like, oh,
Yeah.
next couple days, like this and then that, and this moves like this, and then they have this idea, and then that, and like, to be a part of like watching that creative process, I never tire of it. It's amazing.
No, I know. And for some reason, the one that always comes to mind with you talking about that is like Restless Creature in
Mm.
Vale, like in 2011 or 2012 or something like that. Like, I think you and I were even in the studios in Vale or the school in Vale. And I remember just like, oh my gosh, like, okay, we're here. We're documenting this process. There's Christopher Wheeldon. There's Brian Brooks. There's Wendy Whalen. Yeah, it is amazing what people can create. Like, and I mean, I feel like my favorite part is like filming the dress rehearsal and then seeing the show, and you're like, whoa, how, like it went from there to there, and it's just incredible.
I've had a few of those moments myself. At Jacob's Pillow, there was I won't name names, but I was there to photograph the dress rehearsal in the afternoon, and it was a new show that was being created. And but this was the dress rehearsal. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the show is 8 o'clock that night. And I watched the run through, and I took pictures of it, and we got some pictures. But I went back to my office going like, I don't know. And I get a text from someone in the show going, "What did you think?" And I was just like, I couldn't reply. I was like, I don't think there's anything there. I don't know. And then 8 o'clock, wow,
Yeah,
that was an incredible show. Like,
yeah,
it like blew the top off. I mean, it was amazing. Like,
yeah.
standing ovation, and me too. I was just like, wow, what a difference between the rehearsal to the show. It was incredible.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I just got a little sing thing. I didn't realize we've been talking for 20 minutes. I know that that's the magic. That's the magic of the theater. So what do you, when you're going in there, like what do you have in your mind, like as a photographer? Like I know what I like. You and I always talk about. It's so different to be a videographer and be a photographer. The videographer, you were just pressing record the whole time. Like you're, and we're just standing there with our hands behind our back. I'm just kidding. And that was a joke, Christopher.
I know.
Okay. Um, and but we're pressed. But I guess the point is like you're always looking for that moment. We're looking for that moment, but like in a different way, which maybe we don't get into like dissecting that on this Instagram live. But what are you looking for? Like what is in your mind?
When I'm photographing a live show, like the show,
Yeah, the
not
show. We can
not
talk.
behind
Let's
the
talk about
scenes.
the show first, and then let's talk about behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time when I shoot a show, clients hire me because it's like a world premiere. Like they need photographs because it's never been. They don't have any photographs because it's never been done before. So I've never seen it either, and I don't really love seeing stuff in the studio and then going to shoot it on stage so much because it's just so different from the studio to the stage. Costumes, spacing, lighting is very different. So like
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen this show, but I know that it's a piece. And maybe I ask, I'm like, oh, it's a 25-minute piece and it's a full company piece and there's a couple of solos. Like I might not even know that much. What I'm looking for is the dancer's expression. What I'm looking for is choreographic formations, and what I'm
Mm-hmm.
like sort of like feeling for is like the choreographer's signature feeling of the piece.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a whole bunch of the same kind of like ballet moves, but like we've all seen an arabesque, and the show is not about an arabesque, but like how does that choreographer like weave that into the show to have this be the moment that sort of like speaks to this particular piece. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm looking for. And like I'm trying to like, if there's multiple dancers on the stage, I'm trying to get like a wide shot that gets all of the choreography and like maybe a few of those dynamic moments. And of course, compositionally, I want it to look beautiful. Like I want to fill the space. I want each dancer to have their own space, but I want it to fill the frame. Maybe there's like
Yeah.
a triangle lift or something. And then once I feel like I've got a few sort of like choreographic group photos of like the signature of the piece, then I'll kind of switch to my longer lens and sort of like start isolating different
Mm.
actors and like get just some more like moments of them like being super expressive and amazing too. So
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of got a lot of those things going through my brain.
Yeah. And so then when you sit down to your computer and you're looking at all your selects, is that kind of what's in your mind as well? Make sure
Yeah,
you get like feel the breath of the wide shot, zero in on those some details, get the feeling of the choreography. Yeah.
definitely. And also to be able to like cull it down to, a manageable number where you're not seeing like repeat photos that I can like send to the client, say like that night or next morning, 25 selects that give like a variety and a breadth of the piece without showing like repeat images.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 That's wonderful. Well, it kind of like a little bit leads me into the next moment, which we don't have that much more time. But oh wait, we got a question. Hold on. Um, okay, it says right here, inside the pill lab is a kind of more formalized process of BTS. How do you approach it differently? So inside the pill lab, just for those of you who don't know, is this like the short documentary series that we're doing with Jacob's Pillow. We've been doing for the past 3 years. That is doing short films about the Pillow Lab, about the artists as they are in each of their Pillow Labs. How do you approach it differently than your other work, or for you, Christopher, shooting behind the scenes like inside the Pill Lab versus being on iPhone BTS? So maybe we could use the like Sonia, Taya, and Jen Freeman Pillow Lab as an example because you were hired with me to film on like a camera, not an iPhone, um, to to film like the documentary. Like we were filming more documentary style, not more. We were filming documentary style to capture the story of what's happening in the Pillow Lab. And then I think this question is like, is it different to do BTS? Like, or is something different in your head as you're filming BTS with your iPhone behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's very different. Number one, like if I'm filming like on the gimbal to support something like in the Pillow Lab, we're shooting horizontally, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
the camera, so it's a horizontal frame. And I've also probably got notes. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need this. So like, oh, okay, we need an establishing shot, like maybe like a really pretty shot of the outside of the rehearsal space. Maybe a couple of shots of like the environment around outside, like the path,
Mm-hmm.
the trees, the sun. So capturing some of those things. But then like once we're actually like inside the rehearsal, being on the gimbal, I can like move and move smoothly, but to like be super thoughtful about when to move
Mm-hmm.
and why to move and how does it support the dance. Again, inside the Pillow Lab, there's specific notes that we have that we follow. Like Pam really likes to have long clips of choreography. Like, so it's not just like cut, 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 cut. We want, so
Right.
if I'm on the gimbal, like I want to be able to move slowly, but to be able to have that be a long shot. And then also too, like keeping in mind, I want to be as close as possible. I want to be as close as possible without being too close. So that's a challenge for myself that I love. Like, and actually that's something that I tell people that I'm mentoring is like, until they kick you out, you are not close enough. So like, you got to get yourself kicked out in order to know how close you can
Or
go.
maybe not kicked out, but somebody to at least say like, hey,
Back off.
can you scoot?
You're
Yeah,
too
back
close.
off.
You're too
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which
Exactly.
is interesting because um, it's kind of different than like what my career is based in. And I feel like that, like as a, we'll call myself like a documentarian. Like I've been documenting dance. That's like I always say that is where I'm grounded in my career. And I always say to people that we're a fly on the wall. You're not going to notice us. You know, but it's interesting actually in working with Inside the Pillow Lab and doing this film for a long time. Erica Spiz, you know, our friend, collaborator, you know, for other videographer that films at the Pillow. She actually, because she's not grounded in that, she'll say exactly what you said to the artist, and she'll say, "Hey, just so you know, like, I'm actually kind of not going to be a fly on the wall. I want to get closer. I'm going to get up there and you tell me when to back off." And that's been a huge shift for me because it's not that I stay really far back. It's not that I've done that, but I think my goal has always been for people to not notice me. And I think that is a bit of a pre-COVID mindset because I think before people weren't as like cool with you like having video in the studio and stuff like that, you know, and now everyone's a lot more used to it. So I've actually noticed, I'm really skipping around here, but I've actually noticed that even the artists, when Erica will say that, they'll say, "Oh, don't worry about it, get as close as you want," which I feel like is a real shift. So
I
you know.
agree. I think there's a couple things that support that shift. One is COVID, right? People were much more like hungry for this kind of like BTS. Another thing,
Yeah.
like these phones just keep getting more and more powerful in terms of like really nice quality. So like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, everybody with a phone can kind of capture something if they're thoughtful about it. Inside the Pillow Lab is probably sign a contract that says like we're coming in to shoot you one day. So like they know that this is our only chance to do it. So like they want to.
Right.
And most of the time,
Yeah.
if you're like kind and thoughtful and respectful, artists will give you, you know, a lot of access. You know,
Yeah.
so
That's true.
all of those things are kind of like in our favor when we go
Yeah.
that Inside the Pillow Lab. But the fly on the wall, being a fly on the wall, you know, is something that's stuck like way over there, you know, versus like I'm not gonna bother. I don't want to bother you. So like I want to get as close as I can without it like intruding.
Right, exactly. Maybe I should shift my language from fly on the wall. Yeah, I think so. Well, Christopher, we are getting close to time and we didn't even cover half the things I wanted to talk to you about.
Well, do you have time for one more burning question? I'm ready. I'm ready. Whatever it
You're
is.
ready? Okay. What is your I have two questions for you. And
Oh,
this is going to be
okay.
like a this is going to be like a I don't want to say what I was just about to say because it doesn't feel right to say that. This is going to be like what do you call it? Like fast questions.
Oh, okay.
Fast
The speed. This is
questions.
the speed round.
Speed round, speed round. Okay, what's your biggest hope for your clients?
Oh, that they get everything they need and more, that I can deliver some surprise and delight.
Ooh, okay, that's great. What's your biggest hope for your business?
My biggest hope for my business is that I continue to attract clients that are grateful for my work and that the projects continue to excite me and that I get to be making a contribution to the dance world that makes me feel really fulfilled.
Okay, one more. What excites and delights you
What
in your
excites
work?
and delights me
In your work.
in my work? Um, it's okay. Like when something happens that's like really like unexpected, like especially like when I'm watching some kind of art and something happens that's really like unexpected. That's always like surprise and delight. And then when I also, I love when I have like little or no information or very like no expectations set about an artist, and then like,
Mm,
and it's just like, wow, that was
yeah,
amazing.
I love that.
I love that. Like some companies coming to the Pillow, I've really never heard of them before. I know they're coming from, I don't know, they're making it up wherever. They're coming from New York and da 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 da, and then they come and I'm just like, wow, that was real. That was amazing. I love that. I love that.
I love that too. I'll take that too. I love that too. So I suggest that we do Instagram lives every week because then we can just talk more since we have two children. So that's what we'll do. And I'm just kidding. But this has been lovely. I will have you back where we can talk about more things like what's the most challenging thing of the two of us working together while also staying married and raising children next on Instagram Live. Okay. Do you have any parting words?
Thanks for inviting me, Nell. This has really been fun. I enjoy speaking with you, and I of course I enjoy speaking with you. But I really don't get to share that often about how I work, and so it's really fun for me to talk about how I work.
Good. Well, I'll bring you on so you can ask more because we probably could talk about a lot more.
Cool.
All right. Bye, Christopher. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Come back for more Instagram Live. Have a great day.